Hey guys, we got the usual clan, except with the exception of Mr. O'Brien. Colin O'Brien can't make it this week again, which is okay. We'll just keep on, as they say in Hollywood, the show must go on, and it will. Um, Man, there's so many things in the news right now. I mean, where do you start? This Candace Owens and Erica Kirk thing. As far as I'm concerned, it's a distraction. I think we got bigger fish to fry. We got Mexico, we got Venezuela, we got the New World Order, we got Bill Gates, we got this new guy here. Well, he's not new. Oracle. What's his name? Larry Ellis, who a lot of people think he's going to end up being the new, anti-Christ, whatever. They're really pushing on this digital ID really hard. I don't know if they're going to be able to pull the wool over Donald Trump's eye. I don't believe they will. Where are you guys? But it is scary. I've been watching a lot of videos on Instagram, on TikTok, and everybody's talking about digital ID, where you can't buy, sell, whatever. And so I have a guy who is thinking about taking his $9 million stash of gold and parlaying about $4 or $5 million over a period of time into XRP. That would be the smartest thing this guy would ever do. I'm trying to convince him. Whether I do or not doesn't matter. Mel Carmine and his family are well positioned to take advantage of the new transference of wealth. I can't be responsible for anybody else, but I can tell you this: that you know, gold is heavy. You got to carry it. You understand? But I said to him, because he says, "Hey, what if this XRP ends up being the sign of the beast thing? The cryptocurrency, a lot of stuff that's been evil that's happened through the bitcoins or whatever." I said, "Look, a lot of evil stuff's been happening through fiat currency as well." But it's got utility. It's a necessary evil. You still got to use it, whether they use it for trafficking kids or what have you, right? So I said, look, if worst case scenario, I says XRP blows up in a year, 2 years, 3 years. You take your XRP, you liquidate it into gold that sits on the blockchain, right? And then you have a Tangent wallet, which is attached to what? Your debit card, which means you just become your own bank, 100 trillion%.
It's
So
a
you have
debit.
liquid gold.
Debit card now.
Yes. Tangent wallet is moving towards having a
I well
debit
I
card.
because I signed up for I have a tangent and I signed up to be on that thing, but I haven't heard anything else about it
I
yet.
I talked to Jace and I talked to Patrick Riley, and they both admitted that it's moving in that direction. Where, let's
So
say,
you
for
can spend
example,
you'll be able to spend your money.
yeah,
You'll be able to spend your crypto on
debit card that's attached to your hardware
off a
wallet.
debit card. Okay.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
That's wild. So imagine, because you ever hear the tokenization of things is coming. What's to stop them from tokenizing gold, silver, platinum, palladium, copper,
They're
whatever?
already doing it. They already
Right.
did it with they did it with Glint.
Exactly. Bingo. Perfect example. Great. I'm glad. See, I knew there was a reason why we invited him. Okay. But anyway, so the reality is that you could spend your gold from your debit card. Okay. End the story. So where's the evil? There is no evil. Look, can XRP become part of the beast system
Okay. All right.
5,800 years from now? Maybe.
Be, before if you guys are still believing in the beast or whatever,
Yeah.
you need to read my book,
Which one is that?
The Most Embarrassing Verse in the Bible, because I go through the first
This, you
two.
wrote the book?
Oh yeah, this is my book. You see my name on the bottom.
Oh, interesting. And where can they pick that up, Ron?
Amazon.
Amazon. What's it
Yeah,
called?
the most embarrassing verse in the Bible. It's actually a quote from C.S. Lewis.
Okay.
C.S. Lewis was a huge Christian apologist, and he talked about the verse Matthew 24:34. He called it the most embarrassing verse in the Bible, and so I kind of use that as a play on words. Is really kind of like it's like make it interesting, right? The title to be interesting, but I mean the first two chapters in there. What I do is I go through and I show how the political corruption took over the church,
Hmm.
and it was slow, and it started in like the early to mid 1800s. in Europe, and then it migrated its way over to the United States. And then when it got passed off to Schofield, and everybody, a lot of people, I'm sure, have heard of the Schofield Reference Bible. The Schofield Reference Bible was funded purely by Wall Street. It was the only time ever that Oxford University Press printed a Bible with anything other than just the text of the scriptures. It also included analysis of how to interpret those scriptures. And so what Schofield was able to achieve with that was he didn't necessarily change the Bible. He changed the meanings of certain words in there by altering the Greek words that most people would. So like, in Greek, in Greek, how many words are there for love? There's like 5, right? Agape, phila, eros. Come here, buddy. Come on. You're not a good window. But in English, you've got love, right? So one word love is can mean several different things depending on how you're using it. Well, in the older languages, what they would do is they would have specific words that would be much more descriptive about a specific type of love. Like, why do they call Phila, the Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love? Because Phila was the Greek word for brotherly love. Eros was the word for like, infatuation or intimacy. That's why eros, erotic. All right. So, but what I do in this book is I go through and I show how all of I basically do it in steps. How Christianity was corrupted,
Mm-hmm.
and why it was corrupted, and who corrupted it. And it was mostly powerful political people who wanted, mostly for people to have a specific mindset. I don't want to give too much of it away, but then I go from there. Then I go into show how and where Schofield twisted words, and I show you the Greek word, what the Greek word meant, and how he interpreted that word, and to show you, it's like, well, whoa, that doesn't mean what it says it meant. And then I go into Josephus was a historian who
Mm-hmm.
lived in that time, and all the things that he witnessed, and then into Revelation. And I mean, I do it rather methodically. And when you get to, the book is really only about half of this.
Right.
The book is only about half. The other half is appendices and an exhaustive, like, study materials that you can use that back up. It's kind of like the first half would be like a prosecution's, um it would be the verbal case that they would present to a jury, and
Mm-hmm.
the second half is essentially all the evidence to back up what was verbally spoken in court. So, and you read this, and it'll completely change how you look at scripture and how you look at the world. And it won't. I'll just leave it at that, because I don't want to. I'm not trying to sell. I'm not trying. I'm not a very good self promoter, but I mean, I spent a lot of time on this, and I've shared it with several people, and they're just like, if you go look, I mean, just some of the people that have, it doesn't have a ton of reviews yet, but the people who have read it are like, one person said if I could give it more than 5 stars, I would. So, anyway, is it just it would change the way people thought about Christianity, and how, and it also goes in and it talks about how, where the whole term of Judeo-Christian came in, and when it really began to take hold, because that's not anything that was, Judeo-Christian would be like saying oil and water in the same sentence, so that they go together, because they don't.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people have no idea what the Talmud says about Jesus.
Right.
The Talmud literally says that Jesus is in hell, burning in boiling excrement. Period.
So is
That
there
is
a hell? Is there a heaven? Is there a purgatory? According to the Catholics, they got purgatory.
Yeah, well,
What is that? Probation before you go to hell?
kinda, yeah. I think that's more of a Catholic thing as opposed to what really is what Scripture teaches.
Right.
That's you starting to get into controversial stuff there, and I don't really want to go down that road,
Hmm.
because it's not that
Yeah.
I'm
No, I
unwilling
hear
to
you. I
talk
hear
about
you.
it, but this isn't the proper,
Let me
you know.
ask you a question. You guys see this guy? He's like the new guy on the scene. Well, he's not new. He's new to us, right? You know who this guy is?
Mm,
Yes.
Are you familiar with him, Ron?
why do I know
He
him?
He's
is
been out for a
becoming,
while.
yeah, he is becoming like Jesse, the guy that argues with the bull Ron over there in South
Yeah.
Dakota. This is the watch this guy.
Before
Get ready.
anybody allows a peace officer, a CPS officer, a teacher, or anybody claiming they're part of a state in your house, before you ever let them cross that threshold, the law is very clear. The only legal search, seizure, or arrest in your house can only be first done by presentment of a warrant before they can ever cross that threshold. And they will lie through their fucking teeth and tell you, we don't have to abide by that. That's not true. You don't know what you're talking about. Bullshit. They've done it to me. They went 5 counties away on information. Somebody said something. They couldn't get a judge
I love
within
when he gets
5
mad.
counties to sign a warrant. So they went 5 counties away, photocopied an already existing public case, photoshopped the information, left the letterhead, left the signature, photoshopped the information they wanted in there, and then photocopied that. And then brought that over and said, we have a warrant. Bullshit. The law is that it must be typewritten, and the signature from the judge must be in wet ink, which means no stamp, no photocopy, no digital copy on a computer, none of that shit, because that could all be corrupted. The law actually spawns from when they still use quill pens, and the wet ink was literally out of a bottle on the end of a quill pen and signed. But that law still stands today. Do not let a cop across your threshold of your residency unless upon presentment of a warrant. If he does not have a warrant, cap him in his treasonous, corrupt ass fucking criminal head. These cops think that they are above the law. They don't think they have to abide by it, and they're just doing their job. Well, Nuremberg codes in international law forbids that anywhere in the world. Did you know that? The entire world has banned that cop from doing that. Part of Nuremberg codes. It was spawned after Nazi Germany. It is the international Nuremberg code and law. No one, not even the President of the United States himself, can force his way across the threshold of your residency and do whatever he wants. That fucking judge will get his fucking head capped if he tries that shit with me again.
He is very, very passionate about what he believes, and he is absolutely blowing up. The crazy thing is this, and I've been saying to my wife now for 3 weeks. So Amber, if you're listening, okay, I'll ask you for again for like the 17th time. I think I should start a channel on Facebook because this guy is allowed to speak freely and he's not getting shut down. Is maybe the guy that's running Facebook is not the guy that's running Facebook. It's somebody that looks like the guy that's running Facebook, but it's really not him. And
Or is it maybe it's like, look, you will allow things to stay up as opposed to being taken down. Otherwise, you are going to be in serious trouble.
right, I don't know. But this guy doesn't get any strikes. His channels don't get shut down. He is a loose cannon. He says whatever he's is in here is going to come out here. And he's like, and he advertises, by the way, staying alive, my center in Cape Canaveral. So thank
That's
you,
hilarious.
Mr. Reed. All right, for sending me some customers.
I want to say one. I want to say one thing that that he kind of omitted, and he did. I don't think he omitted it deliberately. But do you guys know what fusion centers are?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so when the Patriot Act went into being, what they did was they created this thing called fusion centers, and a fusion center is essentially it was the wet dream of the federal government in terms of policing. The
Right.
federal government has always wanted to be involved at policing at the local level, but they can't because
Mm-hmm.
if the federal if like the FBI goes in, they have to be attached to an agency, a local agency like a sheriff or a municipal police department. They can't
Right.
go in by themselves, or they have to request permission from the sheriff to come in and do that within the county legally anyway. Um, but what the fusion centers did was the fusion centers. I'm sure you've heard of like gang task force or drug task
Yeah,
force
yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever. And what these are is these are interagency things. So what they'll do is they'll take and if there's any police in here and I'm getting it wrong, but by all means correct me. This is my understanding of it. But what they'll do is um, they'll take these interagency organizations, and they'll typically be operated within the county. They'll be operated within by the county, but the federal government is there with like DEA or ATF or IRS or whatever. But I mean, everybody has something within this fusion center, and inside the fusion center, what they've got is they've got all these computers, the the LexisNexis and the Palantirs and all this kind of stuff. And what it's doing is it's just constantly scraping data. And anytime
Mm-hmm.
something happens, where they think, okay, well, there's a crime that looks like there's a crime that's coming because they're using AI, then what they'll do is then they'll manufacture probable cause. Then they'll go to a judge and they'll get a judge to sign the probable cause warrant. And
Mm-hmm.
and then they'll come out and they'll hit your house. And I I was at January 6th, and I'll just say that I'm not going to give any details, and this is probably the only time that I'll ever even remotely even allude to it. But let's just say that I had an incident in my house.
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you remember that you could not even mention January 6th on YouTube? They would literally give you a strike and shut you down for a week. You say it again, strike two, strike three.
I've never really been on YouTube,
Bill,
so I
that's
don't know that.
Right, right, right.
I do know that I do know because I know some of the guys that are the moderators for Nino's
Right.
channel, and they have said that the if somebody puts something in the comment section, that the content creator can be held accountable for the comments.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, we just had Cobus join us. Cobus is my partner in crime in a nice venture that's really taken off nicely with the irrevocable religious trust. And I got to tell you, I've seen a lot of smooth operators in my lifetime, but this guy eats the cake. I mean, he walks into the bank like he owns the bank. Okay. And he's ordering people around and they're doing exactly what he wants them to do. And if they fuck up, he lets them know, hey, you fucked up. Are you a lawyer, by the way? Because you're using some legal language. And then all of a sudden they take their tail and tuck it between their legs and they go talk to their superior and they come back and no, 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 we'll do it your way. This guy knows how to take the wool and pull it over the eye of the bank, which is normally what they do to us. He knows how to do it to them, but he does it so smooth that they don't even know it's happening. And basically, in short, is the trust is yours. You have full power. You're the trustee, and no one can ever take your shit away from you that you register with your trust. And the deposits or your deposits, which means it's your money. That means if everybody else has a bank holiday, guess who's not having a bank holiday? Mel Carmine. Cobus, how you doing, my friend?
Man, I'm doing great, thanks.
Did I explain that
I'm
properly?
Oh man, you're awesome. Great way to
Yeah.
put it.
You know, and the beautiful thing before I get started is this, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news. When people come and they start hearing him talk with
But
with plain language, right?
yeah,
What happens is they realize, holy shit, I thought I had a trust, when they realize that they don't have a trust because they hired a three-dimensional accountant, a three-dimensional attorney who lives in a three-dimensional world, who doesn't know fuck all from fuck all, right? And they realize they don't have a trust. They realize, they go home and they start to read their trust, say, holy shit, it says that the deposits are the property of the bank, which means your money is the property of the bank. That means you don't have a
right,
trust. Would you say 98% of the people out there that think they have a trust really don't have a
right.
trust?
Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
How do you ascertain that?
Well, he's having a little trouble with his internet. Wait until he gets.
Learning what a trust is because they've taught us an ownership mentality. You know, I own my house, I own my car, and what people don't realize is that your your name doesn't belong to you. Your commercial title was created by the government, so you think it's your name, but it's not your name. That's what they're. That incidentally, that
Oh, you're breaking up there, Cobus. You might want to park somewhere where you have some good
levying
internet.
tax. This man of God, you cannot. But the way their scam works is that they got us to use their trust, and your name is a United States trust account. And when you identify with that, and you go to the bank and open up an account in the name of Mel Carmine, well, you think it's your bank account. It's not your bank account. You're just a quasi custodian, and you're the holder, not the owner. And so a lot of people, I met a lot of people over the years who claims I do common law trust, and of course, the Constitution is based on the common law, um, and uh, and so all of your statutes, your United States Code is not positive law. It's called prima facie evidence of law. So so all of that stuff don't apply to us. But keep in mind, um, the living man is not in commerce. Your person is. Okay? Your person is your legal person. That's your doing business as name in commerce. But somebody else created that for you. They waited until your parents named you, and then they created that artificial construct in that person's name. So you think that you own your house, own your car. No, they own it because that's their name. So when you do a trust, and of course, we'll get into the religious aspect of it. I'm here on the Florida Turnpike. So the key is to get everything out of your name. And so oftentimes when I talk to people, I ask, hey, did any one of you who had a course in trust in high school and college? Nobody raised their hands. And that's more important class than taking a math course, math 101. So, and then of course they've confused the whole thing by there's over 200 different trusts out there, and there's a lot of disinformation floating about trust. So people are confused. And then of course, if you go to an attorney to get an attorney set up your trust, you just hired the fox to guard the hen house, and he's going to set you up with the 100% statutory trust. Okay, and what I mean by common law is that we have the unlimited right to contract. That's our guaranteed right in the Constitution. Contract is law, and law is contract. No questions about it. So, uh, when we open up a bank account for the trust in the trust name, the trust lose its status when suddenly now you don't have an, because by default nobody ever read their banking agreement. The bank becomes the owner of your deposits, and that's been confirmed by 2 court cases. Okay, that's out there. The moment you make a deposit into the bank is the owner of your deposits. So you just have drawing rights. But what good is drawing rights if the title, prima facie title, goes to the bank? Because title is always associated with true ownership, right? So that was the one thing over years ago that bothered me, and I knew I had to solve that problem. So I've been all around the country setting up honors of trust for people all around the country, testing out different things at different banks. So I've gotten a lot of experience to understand how banks work, how they think, how their agreements work, and how to get the bank to accept our agreement that removes their terms of unconscionability. And if anybody doesn't know what unconscionable terms mean, it's like, let's say you sign a mortgage and you read through the fine print and it says that if you miss even one payment, that we have the right to come take your children. Would any parent in their right mind sign such an unconscionable agreement? No. So you did end up, if you most people never read their banking agreement, so you did sign an unconscionable agreement with the bank, and so we can change that by if you in business and you negotiate a deal with somebody and you don't like the terms that the other party present, everything's offer and acceptance, right? Then you have the right to say, you know what, I don't like this. Let's redact that. Let's cross that off. Let's change that with that. I do the same thing with the bank, but as Mel mentioned, we do it in such a way where we do pull the wool over their eyes, right? And do to them what they do to us. They put everything in fine print in a certain font style that makes our eyes a little bit lazy to read. So we've all done. All of us have signed our birthright over for a bowl of lentil soup. Like in a biblical example of Jacob and Esau. You guys get my point. So now we do is we go to the bank and we get the bank to accept our agreement that takes away their power of attorney, takes away their power of ownership, and is to get the banker to accept it and acknowledge it and sign off on it and actually put their stamp on there. And I've done that. And do this all the time still. So I created relationships with different banks. I call it breaking in the bank, where you first, sometimes we run into an obstacle, the banker doesn't like it, or they have to run this through their legal court, whatever. And then I throw my object, like, for example, oftentimes when I go to a new bank, they say, well, you can't have a copy of the signed agreement, the signature card. I say, well, why not? They say, well, it's because it's a private document. Well, it's private with us, and it's internal document. Now, anything I'm going to put my signature to, I have the right to have a copy. That's basic contract law, And so when a banker argues with me on that, I'm like, okay, are you an attorney? No. Well, that sounds like you're practicing law without a license. Making legal determinations. They don't like it, and I have a lot of different ways to overcome their objections. But I try to build in a diplomatic way a relationship with the bank and the banker. So when we do come back, they know us. They know, oh, these nice people that came in, and so we guarantee we walk out of the bank with a bona fide contract that locks in our terms. Okay, our terms. If they don't accept our terms, there's no way I can overcome that. We walk, because there's no way that I will sign an unconscionable agreement. This is not about instant gratification here. This is about contract. Contract
and
is
you have
laws, contract. So
and you have walked out of many banks over the years until you got the experience on how to overcome the objections and close them into doing what you want them to do, right? And you call that breaking in the bank. So you break in the bank. Now you got a relationship there. They know who you are. They know how you operate.
Yeah.
They let you in the door, and they let you basically do whatever you want.
Yeah, Mel, just clarify for your audience. Yeah, I don't break into the bank, okay?
Not with the gun.
Breaking in the bank.
Breaking
so please
in.
don't report me as breaking into the bank. But you get my point, and that involves
huge distinction.
Yeah, that involves developing relationship with them and getting them to first overcome that. And sometimes they will run that by their back office, and they'll come back, and I have ways to overcome. And I have a 90% success rate now, but that 10% of the time, where you end up with the real bitch of a banker, okay, that don't want to cooperate. Okay, the answer is simple. We just shake the dust off our feet, and we walk out of there, and we go to another bank. Plain and simple, you know. And there's enough banks out there, and I've developed enough relationships with banks, around the country that they know now what we do and they accept it. But you just have to, handle them with a certain way.
Yeah. Well, he's going to be down sometime towards the either middle or end of January in Cape Canaveral. You got a good reason to come down and see him. One, you want to protect your assets. You don't want to get caught with your pants around your ankles, number one. Number two, it's probably really cold where you're at, and it's probably snowing, and you might want to come down and visit the sand. We're 4 blocks away from the beach. He knows because every time he comes down, he goes and gets an umbrella, and he goes hangs out at the beach and gets some sand between the toes. It's nice and warm down here. We're in Florida, so we're in Cape Canaveral. So come down. And the other third reason is while you're sitting there listening to his beautiful presentation, you'll be marinating in our beautiful technology. And if your knee pain that's been there for 12 years or your back pain that's been there for 17 years all of a sudden goes away, we could talk about that too.
Oh yeah, I've spent a night at the center there. Huge difference, huge difference.
Yeah.
You got amazing technology there, Mel. Amazing.
Yeah. We're trying to get Tina Peters
down. But I also want to add that, yeah. I mean, I can also go out to if you want me to come out there to where you're at, I prefer if you get a group of people together, 46 people, and makes it worth my trip.
Yeah.
But if it's a onesies and twosies, I may consider just take care of my expenses. I'll come out there, and I'm very skilled in dealing with the bank. So when you walk out of the bank, you walk out with a bona fide contract that takes away the bank's power. So now you have a true trust. Okay. Because the purpose of a trust is to hold and protect. And if you've allowed the boogeyman to come in and own that, or you lose even 1% control, you've blown it. You don't have a real trust. I always use the analogy like, it sounds like a duck, quacks like a duck. It's not a duck. It's not a trust. Okay. And then of course the trust is set up and must be set up in a way, because a lot of people fail at this. It must be set up in such a way where that on paper, there's no appearance that you, the trustee, have any beneficial interest and ownership in the trust. Because if you have ownership, or an attorney set it up, then they can attach themselves to it in the form of court judgments, liens, levies, taxes, etc. Yeah. So yes, and why do we have to think about these things? Because we live in a country where there's the biggest legal piracy going on. I mean, America has 85% of the world's attorneys, and these people are they're all legal pirates. They're a bar member. I don't like attorneys, and because their first duty is to the court and not to the client. And we have to be mindful of the fact we don't have governments, a functioning government. What we have corporations that are running this country, and for the most part, the world. And the United States is listed by definition as a federal corporation in the United States Code. The state of, the city of, the county of, these are all corporations. They're not organic,
correct,
de jure governments. And so you call them NGOs, non-governmental organizations, or government servicing corporations. So if you and I have any stake in the United States or in the state of, well, guess what? Do you get a dividend check every month from that corporation? No. So a corporation only exists to serve itself, to turn a profit, and you're not included in that. So everything is a corporation. Your sheriff's department's corporation, your police departments are corporations, your courts are corporations, and incidentally, that's another one of my big passion is to a movement that I started that I'm going to be developing further to put a stop to human trafficking on the bench.
Right.
Because that really irks me. I mean, I came here, I immigrated to this country from South Africa, and I had my Eddie Murphy moment where I'm like, America, the land of the free. But no, I mean, we're not so free.
Were you the guys? Okay? Were you the guy standing out on the thing and says, yes, fuck you too?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I couldn't resist. I couldn't resist.
It was good.
Definitely. Yeah. So, you remember that scene from Eddie Murphy, right?
Sure.
Coming to America.
Sure.
America, and then it reminds me of that song of Neil Diamond, "Coming to America," right?
Hmm.
Because I left South Africa during apartheid days, and that was a police state. Now, I just happened to have the right color skin, but it bothered me greatly. And so when I came to America, I realized this is a police state. This is, everything, all action with your name is a trust action, by the way, because your name is a United States trust account.
Yep.
It's called a Sestakate Trust, also commonly known as a constructive trust. Look that word up, constructive trust. It says it's a constructive fraud. And so everything that the courts are doing is the administration of a trust. They're nothing to do with you, the man. So I've had a few people dismiss cases by just asking one bomb question to the judge. Is there a trust being administered here today in the name of Mel Carmine? And they don't want to answer that question because that exposed their fraud, okay? Because what it is, it's called human trafficking on the bench. Their dead corporations cannot charge the living. So they unlawfully convert us into persons so they can traffic our persons. And the more people just learn some of the basics of understanding trust, and keep in mind, guys, in a trust relationship, remember, all your public servants, your judges, attorneys, are servants of the people. They're trustees of the people. Now, if there's a trustee, what comes to mind? If there's a CEO, what comes to mind? You think of corporation, right? Vice president, you think of corporation. When you see the word trustee, what comes to mind? There's a trust, because a trustee is a trust term. And in a trust, just draw a triangle for a minute. Okay, just draw a triangle. Very top of the triangle, you have the grantor. I call it G for God, the creator, because that's what the grantor does. And you have trustee on the left side and beneficiary or beneficiaries. And in the middle of the trust, that's your assets. That's what the trust holds. And so the trustee is there to administer the trust for the benefit of the beneficiary. So the trustee is not supposed to attack the benefit. So in this constructive trust that the court set up, it's really an illegal trust. It's not a real, true, valid trust. But there's no grantor to the trust. It's only a trustee and a beneficiary. You and I, we the people, are trustees of the people. Okay, and it's very important you prefix that if you're ever dragged into a court, because the judge will say, state your name for the record. And when you say Mel Carmine, John Smith, well, when you combine the first, middle, and last name together, you're dealing with the United States trust account. I don't care if it's in all caps or proper form. I am, John of the family Smith. Okay, now I was born in a little suburb called Ferndale in South Africa, so I would say I'm Cobus of Ferndale. Okay, and you could say you're Mel from Cape Canaveral. All right.
Yeah.
Or I'm John of the family Smith, but you're not saying you're John Smith, because now you're just identified yourself as their property, and it's all about identity.
You're talking about the all caps names that they create for us, the twin.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I know
That's
exactly.
correct. That's your person. That's I call it my DBA, my doing business as name in commerce. But we incorrectly identify ourselves with that trust. So when you're dealing with the courts, and charges were brought, they never brought charges against your name. Against you, but against the trust, which is your commercial title, right? And if you can let a judge know and say, Judge, is there a trust being administered here today in the name of John Smith? And of course, they don't want to answer that. And now, Judge, you're schooled in law. Don't you know that a trustee, which is what you are, you're a trustee of the people, and I am beneficiary to the Mel Carmine Trust, and one of the people as seen in the Constitution. Very important you say that, because Mel Carmine, John Smith, and your legal name has no constitutional rights. Zero. Okay? But you, as one of the people, do, as seen in the Constitution.
Yeah.
So this is why a lot of people are having their asses handed back to them on a platter by these courts. Yeah. So now you can just ask the judge, don't you know that a trustee can never compel the beneficiary, which is what I am, the beneficiary of Mel Carmine Trust, that the trustee can never compel the beneficiary to pay the charges or the debt obligations of a trust. So since you're the trustee, you take care of that. Okay. And when they see that you understand a little bit of our trust law, they are going to capitulate. They are. And so now the trust that I set up is a different kind of, it's for asset protection. This way, nobody can touch your stuff because you give everything away, and that trust becomes your favorite charity. It becomes your ministry. So how about if we structure a whole life as a ministry now, and you giving everything now to that ministry, which you control. So if you're engaged in services with people, say, you know what, I don't want to get anything. I'll tell you what, if you write a check for X amount to Helping Hands Ministries Trust over here, I'll do the services for you for free. And so now you can't be anybody like that cannot attach themselves to the fruit of your labor, running it through your name, because you're
basically you become bulletproof. You can take your XRP, your gold, your silver,
right.
Every business you own, and donate it to the trust. And you're the trustee. You're not the manager. You're not the owner. You're the trustee, and the trust takes care of you. The trust gives you a house. The trust gives you food. The trust buys you a car. The trust buys you some sushi on the weekend, etc. You get the picture.
Yep.
So if you want,
correct. And
if you want to see him in person,
people ask me, well, how do I get money out of?
Yeah, if you want to see Cobus in person in Cape Canaveral, no worries. If you want to see Cobus in Cape Canaveral in person and sit through his presentation, bring your trust with you. He'll show you exactly where all the pitfalls are, and get yourself structured properly. Towards the middle or end of January, we're going to do another one, and the best way to do that, there's a few people that man this phone number, and we'll put you in the Excel spreadsheet, 786-704-8817. Say, I'm interested in a trust, name and your full name and whatever information you would like to give us, and we'll put you in the trust, and we'll schedule either a time to come see you and maybe 4 or 5 other friends, or you can come down and visit the sand and go to the beach while you're at it and get a little suntan.
Or as an alternative, sometimes I'm in a place about an hour and a half from Vegas. I have several banks there that I've broken in.
North,
so you can.
south,
I have an
east, or
assistant.
west?
You can.
What's that, Ron?
North,
It's
south,
close
east,
to
or west? Laughlin?
Oh, you mean Vegas? Oh, okay, yeah. It's close to the Utah area, St. George.
Okay, St. George
area.
Hurricane,
Yeah.
St. George. Okay.
Yeah, correct. Hurricane St. George, exactly. Yeah, and we got good relationship there with some bankers, different banks, and so I have many times people fly in just for the day. Vegas and Orlando is subsidizes the it's actually Vegas and Disney World and all these places that subsidize the airline industry. So it's really cheap to fly into these places. And so we could, if you want to come down there, we could meet up with you. Maybe we'll see. Maybe if we do have some things going on in Vegas, we can come down there. And then also, like I said, occasionally I'll consider coming to you, but just take care of my expenses, come out there, and or even better, get a group of people together. We can kill 2 birds in 1 stone. And I have the most I've done is 8 to back, with the bank. So
like my guy John that you're gonna go see up in Boston.
It takes about an hour typically at the bank.
Yeah, like my guy John that you're gonna go see up in Boston.
Yeah, correct.
He's got 10 guys waiting for
That's
you,
right,
man.
Yeah. Okay, well,
yeah,
we'll connect. We'll talk.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
do you have any questions, Ron, regarding the trust? I know you're looking at.
No, I don't. I've got to I'm trying to multitask right now because I've just been I've got a lot of stuff to do, and it's I'm about 3 minutes after the time that I needed to bail, but I wanted to hear what hear what he was talking about because it's very interesting. You know, my mother just recently had a stroke, and we have a trust that was put together by an attorney, and I just and all the stuff you're saying to me is scaring the hell out of me. So. Uh,
Yeah.
so
Is it John?
Ron,
Sorry,
like Ronald
Ron.
McDonald.
Okay, okay, Ron. Yeah, people many times people say I have a trust and an attorney set it up. There's typically two questions I ask them. I say, who's the grantor for your trust? And most of the time they don't know. And if you don't know, then that person would set you up, did you a great injustice. And then who do you know who the trustee is of your trust?
Honestly, you know what? I'm gonna be. I hate to. I don't want to look foolish, but I'm just gonna tell
No.
you straight. I have no freaking idea.
Yeah, I mean, this is the we didn't get courses in college and high school about trust. American people know nothing about trust, so I don't blame you for that. And and then attorneys, like I said, they're it's like hiring the fox that guards the hen house, and then sometimes they will be the appointed trustees. Well, that's a problem because God tells us take dominion, take control, don't give up control. So you must always be the trustee and have 100% control over that assets. That's crucially important. Um, and then, of course, understand the difference between a revocable versus irrevocable trust. And an irrevocable trust is where you're separating yourself from your assets, and it can't be attached. Okay, and there's no appearance that there's any beneficial interest and ownership there.
Mm.
And so keep that in mind. And also, if you do have family members in their older age, um, the probate courts are one of the biggest legal pirates and
Well,
thieves
I'm
because
in.
what they'll
I've got two strikes against me already because I'm in the Communist Republic of California. So, uh,
okay, yeah,
uh, you know,
okay,
so it's just like I literally yesterday I got a phone call from some social worker or whatever, and apparently she was investigating because I don't even know how it even transpired. If my mom just said something, my mom has a habit of giving the play by play for everything that she's doing. She just happens to verbalize it. So when she does that, she doesn't realize that people are hearing that. Well, when she was in the hospital, I don't. Apparently, she said something that tipped off the ear of somebody, and
mm,
the next thing I know, I'm getting a phone call from the. I don't know if it was from the state or from the county, but whatever. The point is that they were asking me about unauthorized charges that were taken out of my mom's account when she was in the hospital, and I'm like, what? And I was indignant about it because I'm like, what are you freaking talking? Basically, what they were doing is they were investigating me for elderly abuse because after my mom had a stroke, and
yeah,
yes, so
well,
I'm
and
just like, that
and
that
what
that's
yeah,
yesterday. So no, that's where my brain, more my frame of mind is right now.
got it. Yeah, what happens often? I know a guy who was caring for his mother in her dying age, and he had her power of attorney to
I
act on
do.
her behalf on her banking and everything. Do you know what a judge did? He came along, and because when you're connected with the nursing industry is the biggest informants for these courts because they go, okay, let's do an asset search. Oh, she owns a $2 million property free and clear, and they're gonna uh, act like a bunch of piranha fish. So what this judge did is he nullified her son's power of attorney and he appointed a conservator over her estate. And then the attorney firm, who was a conservator, went ahead and took a mortgage out against his property, and so the son lost the property. And if you had that property in a trust, which is not a difficult thing to put claim deed into a trust, if it wasn't a trust, um, the trust now holds the assets. So if something happens to your mom, um, no probate, and what happens? she just hands the baton of control over to the successor trustee, which logically would be you, her son, as the successor trustee. Now you become the successor, not the owner. No change of ownership of assets, so there's no taxation, no probate, none of that, where they can nickel and dime and milk that estate, because the trust owns the estate now. The trust is a person, right? Just like a corporation is a person, and everything goes smooth. It's just a smooth handover of control, not of ownership. And that's what a lot of people don't do that until it's too late, you know. And it's really sad.
Well, it's and
Many
like
times,
what you're telling me is terrifying. I just I I mean it's already terrifying to me because I'm in California, and I mean it just
I
makes
used
it
to live
even
there. Yeah,
whereabouts?
San Diego.
Okay, I'm right where the 60 and the 10 come together on the way out to the desert.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm about halfway between Riverside and Palm Springs.
Yeah, I used to live in North County, San Diego.
I love Palm Springs.
Yeah, Palm Springs is like 20 about 25-minute drive for me.
Really?
Yep.
I got to come visit you, Ron.
So listen, Palm Springs is not what it used to be.
Really?
Palm Springs may as well be the Castro district of San Francisco on steroids.
Completely liberal?
Do you not know what the Castro district is in San Francisco?
Explain it.
Okay, I'm sure you're familiar with the rainbow flags.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know,
yeah.
that was Dean Martin and what's his name? Frank Sinatra's old stomping ground.
Yeah. It was Palm Springs. The whole reason they built the airport there was because when Hollywood was going so crazy, what they would do is the actors would fly out there in the winter. They would basically be like a short, what am I trying to say? Almost like a snowbird type thing, but just getting away from the city. That go out to Palm Springs. That is no longer the case.
So a bunch of tutti frutti people over there.
I would say probably I don't know what the
60%,
proper, maybe. I mean
Wow.
it's just
crazy.
it's they've completely overrun the entire city.
They took over.
Yep.
Just like the Rat Pack took it over in the 50s.
It's like West Hollywood. It's like West Hollywood, and the Castro district up in San Francisco.
Wow, that's interesting. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
I
mean,
mean, not dangerous, obviously, because the rainbow flags are not dangerous.
No, but I was in Palm Springs during spring break back in I think it was '86 when they had that big old riot down there. I was literally like right there when it started, and we were fortunate enough to get the hell out of there. But it was after that's when they started to do all kinds of things to shut down Palm Springs from being a destination for spring break, and then that's when a lot of the Hollywood crowd began to go out there, and they started to live out there on a permanent basis. And a lot of the Hollywood crowd is it's just they go. I
watched a documentary recently with yours truly, Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, and Sammy Davis Jr. That whole entire crowd used to own that whole entire city. Elvis Presley was a big deal there. He's still, he has a house there that's still there today, I'm sure. Bob Hope was there.
Yeah, there's a big house up on the hill that belonged to Bob Hope.
Yeah,
Bob Hope, and I don't want to be disparaging to Bob Hope, but from what a lot of the stuff that I've read about him, when he was on tour with the USO and stuff, he was actually not nearly the nice guy that everybody claimed he was. He was a comedian, but everything that he did was self-serving, and he was not a very good he was a good ambassador on stage, but when you got him off stage, he was a completely different person from what I understand.
Interesting.
Yeah,
that's very interesting. But the people, the rainbow flag people, they're very nice people. They're not very violent people. They're usually very clean, very tidy. How are the restaurants there?
It depends on what crowd it depends on what crowd and how much alcohol
Yeah.
they've consumed.
Yeah, okay, but there's that crowd too that likes to indulge in a lot of drugs, etc. With that rainbow flag people. Yeah, but the reality is, how are the restaurants? How are the shops? And is it a good shopping experience? Is it a good?
Not really, not like it used to be. Most all the stuff has migrated out towards Palm Desert. Palm Desert is the new. It used to be Palm Springs, and now Palm Desert has kind of taken that mantle. There's a street out there called El Paseo in Palm
Mm,
Desert, and it's just north of 111. If you guys don't know what that is, it's a it's kind of like the main street that goes right through.
right.
And El Paseo is like one. It's actually I got it wrong. It's one street south that it runs parallel, and it's essentially like the Rodeo Drive of the desert. It's right there, basically on the kind of the border of La Quinta and Palm Desert, and
Right.
very very affluent area. My father worked at that pharmacy for 20 years almost,
Gotcha.
and it was so I mean I would go down there frequently and see him and whatnot, but it very very nice, and that area wasn't as overrun because you had a lot more families or elderly people who were living in homes out there that it was where you could live year round.
Hmm.
People just get acclimated to the heat. It's not that it really isn't that bad, but nevertheless, it was it was nice, but it wasn't Palm Springs. Cathedral City and Palm Springs are the two places that are really they've kind of been, I don't want to say poisoned, but they've been overrun.
Right. Interesting.
So to answer your question about the good shopping, yes, there's still some good shopping out there. But I mean, the shopping and stuff that you get out there, you're going to be paying way more than you would otherwise be paying because what they're doing is they're catering to like the Rodeo Drive clientele, people who can afford to pay extra because they're being wined and dined. It's almost like the scene from Pretty Woman when he's taking her out and shopping and they're like kissing her ass and everything. So that's what people pay for when they go shopping in places like that. So um,
Yeah.
I don't know how I'm trying to say it as diplomatic as possible, but it's probably not coming across that way.
Yeah. Hey, let's get to the crypto market real quick. $1.85 right now, XRP.
Oof, need to buy some more.
Holy moly. What do you think? Do you think we're going to have a turnaround here in the beginning of the year, or do you think they're going to continue to bleed out as many weak hands as they can get?
I
This
don't
is all
know,
a
but
planned thing.
Yeah, XRP shaman.
You got this wrong. Go ahead.
no, I want to hear what you have to say.
So really what's happening right now, this is all planned. If you look at what transpired back in 2014, Ripple made a major list of all the countries and businesses and everything and had this massive list, which they distributed XRP to all of them back in 2014. So if you look at how the pricing has laid out through these 11 years of this whole development of XRP, because that's pretty much what we went through. You can see right now we're at the ETF stage of this whole thing.
Hmm.
They're trying to make it a little more cheaper for these large entities to come in. So what they've done is they're dumping keep it's all supply. So that's where we are. But on the other hand, let's go look at silver. It's flying off the shelf right now.
$67 today?
Yeah, amazing. We we aren't stopping.
Wow. Well, 107, who I just released a video yesterday, I'm about to release it on YouTube. Hopefully, my guys got it ready this evening. But he said it's going to go shoot right to $70. We're $3 away now, right?
Well, I interviewed Jim Willie a while back, And he has been maintaining for quite some time that you're going to see what he calls discontinuous jumps. So you go to bed and it's like 70 and you wake up and it's like 120.
I like those.
It makes no sense that why it would jump like that significantly. But that's
Well, we got 107 admitting a $200 price tag is not the so distant future. I'm thinking there's already signs on websites saying that they're taking back orders, meaning they don't have any, that it's coming in,
That's correct.
and people are getting emails saying, "Hey, I know that we're supposed to deliver you the silver tomorrow, but we're behind schedule, and it still didn't come in. You might be delayed another 2 weeks." This is the kind of stuff we're hearing.
mhm.
So we're not that far away from taking silver in the back alley and sell it on the black market for $400, $500 right now.
That would not shock me. That would not shock me. I was way more into silver than I was gold, and I actually converted some gold into silver just because I knew there was it had a whole lot more
Pardon me.
room to run.
I'm thinking about doing that. I got a couple of those, and I would like to maybe. I think I'm going to get a bigger bang for my buck on the silver than the gold.
Yes,
Now,
you will.
did you see the article there was a story that came out not too long ago talking about how the government is going to be trying to perhaps seize silver?
I saw that. I
I
don't
saw
believe.
that.
I don't believe that that's going to happen. I think people is too smart for that these days. Back in the day,
Dude, I think you give our fellow countrymen way too much credit, brother.
well, I think they would put up a stronger fight. I mean, look, back then there was no internet when they confiscated it. There was no way of communicating. You just whatever they told you in the magazines and the television is what you believed, right? Today, you could go bury it in the middle of the fucking jungle somewhere, and put a rock there with a whatever, and chisel some stuff on it so your junk is underneath that rock, 8 feet under or 10 feet under, and go back and retrieve it another time. So a lot of
Right.
people would be willing to do that, I bet.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't say that with any disrespect. I'm just saying it's like the vast majority of the people in this country, they are not educated. They are they're programmed and they're not educated. There's a significant difference.
Right.
Ron, did you
Well, I
see
want to
that
point. Sorry.
that report on the Mexican and was it China that did that deal this weekend on Sunday, basically buying all of the silver out of Mexico.
That
Twenty
well
percent of
that wouldn't surprise me. Most people don't realize that silver is the number one. Mexico is the number one silver producing country on the planet, and if you take, I think it's Mexico, um, Peru, Ecuador, Bolivia, and Chile. If you take those countries and you add them up and add their silver production up in terms of what they deliver into the market. Now, I don't know if they're selling bullion to mints to be produced or into coins, or if they're just or if they're making coins themselves. I'm not sure, but that area of the world accounts for almost half of the silver production on the planet.
Hey, Ron, I
Mexico
want
was
to point something.
20%.
Get Cobus.
Sorry, guys.
Go,
I think
buddy.
we have a delay here. Didn't mean to interrupt. No, I just want to point something out. You guys remember when they confiscated the gold back in 1933?
Yep.
Yeah.
There
Yes.
was an executive order that required all persons to turn in their gold. Okay, and the sheep, willing, thinking I'm a person, went and turned in their gold. Now, of course, that was the year where the government can't just confiscate your gold without giving you a remedy in return. Of course, that's when they created the fiat currency system and created, you know, Federal Reserve notes. So, in order to take away our ability to to pay with lawful money, they have to get remit. And that's why.
You're breaking up, dude. He's probably going to drop off.
But my ever call me a person, I'm a man. I even have a declaratory judgment signed by a judge acknowledging and admitting that I'm not a person of any sort. I'm a man, and there's a big difference. All the legal dictionaries make a clear distinction. So just be mindful of that. A lot of people walk around, they see the word person and they think that's that natural person. So all laws, statutes and codes regulate persons. They don't regulate men and women. Keep that in mind. So for those of us awakened ones, we're not going to fall for that scam. That persons have to turn in their silver.
Oh yeah, well,
just a side note.
I mean, I think if something like that did happen, what they would do is they'd be going after people who actually purchased it online, and which is honestly that's probably the vast majority of people. But I used to be a gun show vendor, and I got a guy who I buy everything I buy is cash, and everything I sell is cash. So so I don't ever have to worry about any of my transactions are all off grid, but yeah, I can't really foresee things like that happening. I think that's a lot of scare tactics.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You got it.
I think that's scare tactics. It's just like in California when they say, "Oh, we're in drought conditions." It's like, dude, we've been in drought conditions for freaking 50 years, and the water turns on every time I turn it on. So
yeah, I was the one that sent you that video, by the way, where the government potentially can. It was a Chinese guy speaking, right?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I just sent it out a couple of days ago. Very well done video. People are saying it's artificial intelligence. I don't know. Well, guys, it's been real. Cobus, get ready to kick some ass in January. We're going to have a full house, I'm telling you. If you guys want to get down there, go to stayingalive.com, alive with two E's, staying alive with two E's. The telephone number is down at the bottom of the website, and make an appointment. Get on our mailing list. Put your number so that we can absolutely send you a text message saying, hey, we're having an event. You'll know a week and a half, 2 weeks before, and then you come down and get your shit in order.
Yeah, I'm looking forward, Mel.
I understand that Mel is going to be going to a gym.
I'm going to melt down at the sauna as soon as I get done with this call. And
nice.
I got a set of dumbbells that resemble like the ones you have, Shaman. The one that you can choose the weights you want, whether you want 20 pounds or 30 pounds and so on.
Oh, yeah.
And another reason to come down, Mel, I think you got a new piece of technology that that you should tell people about that can reverse gray hair and all that stuff.
Oh, right? My God. Yeah. The hydrogen therapy machine that you stick in your nose and you breathe in. I mean, this stuff is like next level, man. I got 72-year-old guys saying, wow. Right. And so you can actually buy a 2-hour package and sit in a chair, and you got this, light system going through your body, allowing your cellular being to recharge and optimize your cells to 90 millivolts. And then you're doing internally with the Brown's gas, is known as also hydrogen therapy. It is absolutely next level.
So are you doing Brown's gas? Is that what you're doing?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's awesome. I have one of those machines.
Yeah, and people are reporting some amazing stuff with that. So again, we're not, these are not medical devices. They're not going to heal you. The body does all of the work. You just inhale the stuff, whatever it produces, and then the body goes to work.
Did you get it from that guy down there in Florida?
I don't know who my wife got it from. It costs several $1,000s, and it's one of the better ones. And it could do 2 people at the same time.
Okay, so that's a little bit more fancy than the one I have. Do you drink the water?
Yes, you could drink the water. I'm about to engineer it, if you will, and put a bigger jug of water so that it can have a little spout underneath, and you could just go like that, and it'll come down the bottom, and you can drink the water that way instead of taking the cap on top off. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah. So
And one
maybe
of you guys I set up a trust for. Yeah, sorry. I
yeah,
just
again,
want to say, I think there's a little delay. That's why we keep talking to each other by
yeah,
mistake. One of the guys, your guys, Mel, that I set up a trust for, he had suffered a lot of ringing in his ears because of some stuff the government did. He worked government jobs,
right.
and he personally testified that the ringing went away even on the first night when he stayed at the center overnight. So your stuff is amazing.
Yeah, no, it is.
Technology is
It's
amazing.
really next level. And wait, because now the
Yeah.
technology is going to be improved upon, and I'll let that cat out of the bag at the right time. And I'll let you know who I'm going to be working with. And it's not going to be any of the ones you think it is. And when we let that cat out of the bag, we're probably on the precipice of building a dynamo, in the sense that I think eventually the technology is going to be so inexpensive that a lot of people will be able to afford to have it in their house, just like you have air conditioning.
Mm.
So it's going to be pretty cool. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So guys, it was great. And well, we'll catch you next Wednesday. And don't forget, staying alive, carminesgold.com, XRP. If you need a lot of XRP, I am your guy. As a matter of fact, before I go, not to brag, but I got a couple of executives flying down to Cape Canaveral, okay? A new firm that's sprouting up, and they heard that I'm one of the biggest wigs out there when it comes to selling XRP, and they want to come meet me in person. Wouldn't you know? And so because they realized that this guy knows how to sell XRP, and I do. So they're coming down. There's a new firm coming to the table that's going to be opening up soon, and I am going to be one of their top guys. I'm actually the first guy they called, and not only they're flying down, but they might be
Mel,
opening up their doors soon.
Mel, you could sell ice to an Eskimo in the middle of a blizzard.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
jokingly say I've sold more XRP than Brad Garlinghouse, and I don't think it's truly that far fetched. I got a customer right now that's got millions of dollars worth of gold, not silver, and is looking to take half of it and putting it into XRP.
Yeah. I'm happy that I'm happy the price is coming down. I literally it was a little bit dangerous, but I was like, man, it's this is going to come down before it goes back up.
Oh
So
yeah.
I literally I took like 90% of my XRP, put it in a stable
Well,
to
this
buy
guy,
back in.
yeah, this guy calls me. He says, "Can you really get me that much XRP?" Because I'm about to put you to the test. I said, "Try me, baby. Let's go." So yeah, it's going to be in the realm of, I think, in increments, and it will end up being about 4, 5, 6 million
Wow.
worth of XRP, which is a lot of XRP. Right now will be the time to really pound it, but maybe he knows something I don't know. Maybe it will go down $1.26 for all we know, right? Who knows?
Who knows?
Do you think it will go down that low, Shaman, before it goes back up?
140, I've heard.
140, huh?
I have, yeah.
The end of the
I'm not
month is
I'm not
creeping
scared.
in. Yeah, neither am I.
Where'd
I'm
you
not
hear
scared.
140?
It was in a prediction that they had back in 2022 that we would drop something like that.
That means
Um,
Bitcoin will probably go down to like 70.
wasn't there a number that they were giving us one time? It's like 72,000 when Bitcoin got to that number, something was going to happen.
Yeah,
This was, yeah, it's a while back.
that's wild. Well, guys, we'll catch you on the next one. Don't forget 786-704-8817. Gold, silver. If you want to sell some of your gold and we'll pay you in cash, we'll give you the best rate. Nobody can touch us. Absolutely nobody. Guys, we'll catch you on the next one. And don't forget,
Good night.
Colts, end of January. All right, get on the mailing list. Send us a message. We'll put you in the Excel spreadsheet. or if you want him to come to you, make sure you have at least 3, 4, 5 people there that have assets to protect. They want to protect their ass, and he'll come there and protect your ass. Thank you,
Oh
guys.
yeah, I forgot to mention we
Yes.
can protect the XRP also in a trust. Yeah, forgot
Yes.
to mention that.
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
we put
that's good to
all of
know.
it. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. You know, why would you want to leave this to chance?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's some pretty draconian ways that you can, like, protect your
100%.
yeah, but yeah,
100%.
I trust nobody. I trust nothing.
Me neither. Take care, guys.
All right, good to see everybody.
Bye
Cobus,
bye.
good to meet you.
Bye, guys.